For those that don't know me, my name is Winthrop Wellington, and I've had the privilege of calling Negril, Jamaica my home for the past 19 years. And over the past few days, I've been sharing with you the devastating on-the-ground effects of Hurricane Melissa on Negril and the wider Westmoreland parish. And unfortunately, Westmoreland has been one of the parishes that has been hit the hardest in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. And in my travels in the last few days, I've seen things that are nothing short of heartbreaking. And people have completely lost their homes. Their lives have been turned upside down, and they need all the help that they possibly can get. And I'm using this platform and reaching out to you, my community, whether you are brand new here or you've been with me for years. We want to try to get people back on their feet. And we want to start with the most basics of needs, which is food, water, and shelter. And how I would like to do this with this platform and with this GoFundMe is to start with the Travelers Beach Resort team here in Negril and then spread out to the folks that I know personally that have been affected by this storm. And in doing so, I want to do it in a way that there's no red tape, no bureaucracy. Literally, donations, fund support will go directly towards buying these materials and getting it out to the people who need it most quickly. And we've already begun doing that because we couldn't wait for donations. Over the last few days, my brother has literally been going out with his truck to different communities without cell service and also without a clear line of gasoline and petrol, searching for different members of our staff and different members of our team. And we unfortunately haven't got to all of them. We haven't heard from all of them, but those that we have got to, many of them are in really, really disparaging positions, and we've already begun helping them and getting them supplies, getting them building supplies, and literally sending our maintenance crews out to their homes to help them rebuild, at least so they can be stable. And the thing with this situation is that we're going to be here for a few months. And when I say here, I mean no electricity, no running water, maybe not consistent, sustainable access to internet. And in my mind, it's like, how can we set these folks up to be okay, relatively okay, for the next few months? And that's where I want to put as much support as possible. So once again, whether you've been with me for many, many years or you're just joining this community, I'm so grateful that you're here. And no matter how small or how large, in respect to the support that you give to this GoFundMe, it's going to go a long way and it's going to make a huge difference. And what's happening right now in Jamaica is bigger than any one of us. But together, I know we can make an incredible difference. So in closing, I thank you for your time, I thank you for your generosity, and I thank you for your consideration. And let's get these folks back on their feet as quickly as humanly possible. Happy Sunday, everybody. Got a late one today. It's been a busy day, as you can imagine. Like every day is a busy day here, as you can imagine, and just not the same days as usual as it was before Melissa, and it's probably going to be that way for a while. So I still wanted to go live today. I still wanted to give some updates on what's happening here in Jamaica, what's happening particularly here in the West, Negril, Westmoreland as a whole, and just continue to give you a sense of what's going on, how people are doing, where we are, as far as being less than 2 weeks out officially from when Melissa hit Jamaica. And it's for sure, it's a different Jamaica. It's a different Jamaica that we are living in and that we are going to be rebuilding. And sometimes it's like, some days I'm like, man, I can't believe this is life right now, and that this is Jamaica, but it is what it is. And everybody is really just doing their best to make it through this, and everybody's doing their best to help others who are in a position that can do so. And yeah, we're definitely gonna get through it, and we're still, without question, we're in the rescue and relief phase of this situation. From what I understand, there's still communities that haven't been reached yet as far as aid, and especially I would say in the I don't know if like the northeastern part of Westmoreland, but let's just say many parts of Westmoreland. And so can you not hear me? I've been hearing a lot of people well, a lot of different towns saying that they haven't received any aid or any sort of help. So anyway, wanted to kind of bring some updates, and also we'll definitely have some good news as we go through this. We got just so this is, of course, this will be, as you know, as if you've been on the stream before, we're gonna definitely have it, as make it as engaging as humanly possible. But this is what I got so far, like for our agenda today. So, want to speak about what's happening here in the West, at least from my perspective, my experience, what the last week has been like out here. I've had the opportunity to go out on the road a few days, as a matter of fact. Talk about Jamaica as a whole. Got some Throp X updates, and then also talk a little bit about the road, like the road situation, which I've been getting a lot of questions about, which shouldn't take too long to get through. Let me know. See some people saying they might not be able to hear me. Let me know if the mic is okay, if you can hear me okay. Okay, people saying okay, great, 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 great. And then yeah, let's do our normal thing. Let's do our normal thing. Let me know what city, what state, what country you are chiming in from. Always love to hear that. I think that's a great way to connect us and to really push things going here. So let's get that in there. Also forgot, if you haven't seen already, we started a GoFundMe for our team members here in Negril at Travelers specifically. So, all right. So let's start off with, to begin with. Let's start off with I guess where Jamaica is as a whole. Like let's go kind of big picture here and what's been happening. And I'm sure many of you have been keeping up with the country's recovery, and also um, the growing frustrations that you're seeing online as well, and just how widespread this is. So, as I mentioned before, we are definitely still in the rescue and recovery phase of this, and of course, I hope people are thinking like this, that we are going to move, like we're not always going to be in this phase. We're eventually going to move to the rebuilding phase. We're not there yet, for sure. We're not there yet by any stretch of the imagination, and we still need to get, and are doing, in terms of getting aid to people, like again, basic needs, food, water, and then giving them shelter. And that's what needs to happen right now. And we want to obviously keep people alive, keep people nourished, keep people just ready to move into that rebuilding phase and getting into a normal life. I don't know what that timeline is like. I don't know at what point where the delineation is, okay, where rescue and recovery is over, and like now we are, because we hit this benchmark or whatever, that we are now in the rebuilding phase. And I hope, like I'm sure our leaders are thinking this way, like before we move from one phase to the next, we've already begun whatever those beginning steps for the next phase are. We have to be able to do two things at once here. And so, of course, St. Elizabeth, particularly Black River, as we know, just kind of building context here, is the parish and town specifically that has been hit the worst by Hurricane Melissa. And that's where a lot of the focus is, rightfully so, in my opinion. That's where the most devastation is. And I know there are a lot of people, or towns, I should say, in Westmoreland, and I know there's frustration growing in respect to where aid is being distributed and it's not going to certain places. And of course, that's extremely frustrating. But on the good side of things, like what I think is like awesome and really, really amazing, and what you're seeing here is like just so many private individual people are just jumping into action. Like nobody's telling this person to do this or that person to do that, or somebody, there's a lot of people, there's nobody who's waiting for somebody to say, hey, come help me. So many great, fantastic individuals. The amount of calls that I have received from Kingston that says, hey, I'm coming on Saturday. Hey, I'm coming on Wednesday. What do you need? What can I bring? So many people, especially who don't know Westmoreland, that don't know the West out here, have been coming to me and looking and asking me for direction and how to do this and how to do that. And I think that's amazing. We're seeing a lot of families who are flying in to, say, have family like in Darlaston or something like that, or in Grange Hill, that they're flying in, packing and building out their suitcases with goods, and then going to those communities and helping out. And so you're seeing a tremendous amount of that, which I think is really, really fantastic. And there's no way. I mean, and I don't make this to be critical or overly critical of the government, but there's no way the Jamaican government will be able to handle this on their own. Like, there's just no way. And I think in many disaster, like these extraordinary disasters, there's always help, outside help coming in, from other countries, from other partners, especially who have a lot more experience in aid and relief. And I think Jamaica has done a great job to develop relationships over its history with different countries, and you're seeing that play out, those relationships and those countries coming in with aid, sending in workers. And it's just so important to just be a great global citizen as a nation, so to speak. And I think what we're seeing now is the fruits of those relationships come to fruition. And it's just, again, and I can't see, especially a country like Jamaica or any one country having to deal with this, where you have, and I don't know the numbers. Like, I've been curious about this. I don't know if anybody in the comment section is privy to this. Is like, how many people are really have been displaced and affected by this? Of course, it's in the tens of thousands. Um, and like the reason, like just the way that my brain works is like, all right, we got tens of thousands of people who are, and then within those tens of thousands, you want to categorize them, right? Where you have X percentage of those tens of thousands of individuals who've lost entire homes, just completely gone. X of percentage of those tens of thousands, roof damage. Perhaps they have no job because the business that they were working for got destroyed. And so you want to understand your numbers. Like, that's just the way my brain works. So I don't know those numbers, and I don't have an understanding of that, because I feel like understanding those numbers and those metrics, it'll give you the best opportunity to come up with the most efficient and effective game plan to, again, move from this rescue and recovery relief phase into the rebuilding phase, into the stabilized phase, right? And I hope everybody understands that this is going to take years to come back from. Like, this is going to take years. And we are still in the very beginning stages of this whole situation. But it's also a very, very important stage that we're in, which is going to set the foundation for how we move forward, how we grow stronger, and how we become more resilient if this were to happen again in the future. And I would venture to guess that the assumption is that something like this is going to happen in the future. Maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe in 100 years from now or whenever. But those future generations will learn from this situation in terms of infrastructure, preparedness, readiness, communication, all of those things, and that it won't be as devastating as it has been today, these last couple of weeks. And so that's just where my brain goes. So anyway, with the recovery that we're having here, and we're seeing like all these international organizations come in, very, very important. And I feel like, again, I'm no expert at this, I don't claim to be, but I feel like we're going to be in this for quite some months. And why I kind of think that is, yes, the infrastructure damage, like buildings, homes, etc., people being out of work, and we're going to dive into that heavily. Is So let's take water and electricity and take focus on Sav. So Sav Lamar is the capital of Westmoreland, and that's where we have our government buildings, the courthouse, the main police station, tax office for Westmoreland, and that place is just in really, really bad shape. Let's put it that way. And then no electricity, no water. And from what I understand, that is going to be the situation for quite some time. And when I say quite some time, we're talking about, and I was speaking with somebody in the business, let's say, and we're looking at 3 months, best case scenario, for electricity. And I could see you can just see it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody has to tell you that. And then and I think people really, I'm guessing people understand the length and breadth of the devastation, particularly in Sav, and then also now as people starting to get cell service and starting to have access to Wi-Fi. There's an understanding of the gravity of this across the island from an individual who's in Savlamar, who is going through their own extreme challenges right now, right? And so with that, and I said this in the GoFundMe video that I played earlier, is my mind is like, all right, how do we get these folks to get past this 3 months, right? And it shouldn't, and again, forgive me if I'm wrong in thinking like this, but in my mind, it shouldn't be a survival situation, and we don't, I hope it's not. And maybe I'm wrong. And what I mean by that is like, I don't think the mindset should be like, all right, the folks who have no water, no electricity right now, and perhaps don't have a stable roof over their head, how do we get them to survive 3 months? Like, no, to me, my mind is like, no, how do we get them, yes, to survive, but also comfortable enough, as many people as we possibly can get, and giving them a roof over their head, shelter, of course, and then also providing in a sustainable way, like that can carry us for the next 3 months, let's say. And this is my layman way of looking at it and understanding what we're facing here. And it could be worse than this, but I could be not as bad as I'm thinking. But this is the way I'm thinking. So how do we get them to as comfortable a situation as possible to get past this 3 months and get them to be productive members of society? Like, and when I say productive members of society, I'm like, what, being able to go to work, even if that's even possible. Black River, that's probably not the situation. As I mentioned before, is that if you were working in downtown Black River, that's where your job was for, I don't know how many years, or maybe you worked at a hotel. I forget the name of the hotel that was there on Black River, but those places are just uninhabitable, and that's not going to be available to, whether, even if your house was intact, where are you going to go to work? Or that, you were able to somehow manage to keep a roof over your head, and you were quote unquote okay, but the place of business that you were getting your paycheck from either no longer exists, or it's just not going to be there, or it'll never come back. And there's many businesses that fall under that umbrella, as particularly in Black River, that you'll just never see again, unfortunately. And so again, it's like, all right, how do we, and I even think from just like a human, like just from a human being perspective, like mindset of just like having and getting up and having purpose, and getting up with a purpose, right? And it's just like, how do we get, and I'm just thinking, this is like, how do we get, I don't have the idea, I don't have the answer, excuse me, I don't have the answer to this, but I'm just saying, like, how do we get this massive amount of folks, like tens of thousands of people, where they can have roof over their head, food, water, like running water, and then also food coming in regularly, like where you don't have to think or worry about where your next meal is coming from. I don't know what that plan is. I don't know how to solve that, but that to me is just like, that's where we need to get to as quickly as possible. And I don't have the answer to that. But I think that's the question of the day, is how do we get to that point? And how do you do that for tens of thousands of people? And especially since it's like not like Black River, yes, is a concentrated area, but this is just so widespread. We're talking Westmoreland, parts of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne as well, over in Clarendon. And so it's just extremely widespread. And tactically, like, how do you attack that? And I'm sure I hope there's a plan, and there's it should be like divided up, and we kind of have an idea of the resources that we have now, and it would be good to get an understanding of how those resources are going to be deployed. And I'm talking about like the physical, food, water, building material, but also even like the cash. Like, and how is that going to, like, I have no idea how this works. I mean, that's just a lot, a lot to think about. But that is kind of, in my mind, like, this is the monster that you're trying to attack right now. And it has to be, again, in my mind, short, medium, long-term planning. And the short-term plan right now is like, how do you again get these folks into a relatively comfortable situation that is at least inching them towards being productive and being part of this? Because there's also, keep in mind, the manpower that we're going to need to move from rescue and recovery to the rebuilding, I mean, is immense, is going to be immense, immense, immense. And so those folks, and it's going to, I would venture to guess it's going to be a largely Jamaican population. Of course, there's going to be international help and aid that's going to continue to be here and be part of that rebuilding, the rebuilding phase. But then also, this is going to employ a lot of Jamaicans. But it's you can't do that, if you don't have a home to go home to. You can't just confidently go home, rest your mind, rest your body, give yourself good nutrition, and then come back and work hard again the next day. And so I understand, like, it's a step-by-step process. And even as I'm like kind of just flowing through this and speaking to you all and trying to work it out in my head at the same time, it's just like, it's just a lot. It's a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. As we kind of think about this, and as we talk about this, it's just so much, so much. So, a lot going on in Jamaica as far as the recovery goes. I haven't been watching the news at all. Like, you guys probably know way more than I do in terms of recovery and what's happening. Like, all around other parts of Jamaica, I can talk about the West here and what I'm hearing on the ground and what I'm experiencing on the ground, but I haven't been watching the news much at all. So I'll have to catch up at some point and see what's going on, see what the plan is. Um, and I know, like, the government, and, like, I'm not here to, like, make excuses for them or anything like that, but I just, even just going through this little exercise we just did, like, it's the pressure, the responsibility is immense. And I know everybody's working hard. Like, there's no doubt about it. Everybody's working hard. I just, and everybody, obviously, in terms of the victims of Hurricane Melissa, everybody's not getting the aid, and so that is frustrating. And I know it's easy for me to even talk about this from being here in Negril. And, like, right now it's night, and people don't have a roof over their head right now. It was raining yesterday. We got some heavy rain. I just, like, oh my gosh, my heart is just, like, just crazy. Like, people don't really have a roof over their head or nothing stable, and they're going through this. They're in the darkness right now. No running water. I'm just like, man, this is just crazy. And, like, this is kind of what I was talking about before, and what I was alluding to before, of just having, like, this, just some days, just having these, like, reality checks of just, like, what are we doing here? Like, in terms of, like, this is reality here. It's like, it's just so crazy. Just so crazy that this is Jamaica's reality. This is Westmoreland's reality. It's just incredible. All right. Man, so many comments here. I will let's talk about a little bit about the West here, particularly with Westmoreland. So I had a chance to, I'm gonna start looking at comments. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention, just kind of been flowing here. So I had a chance to go to Waterworks. I told you all that I would be going there and checking it out. I just went to my friends. They're staying at my place. Their roof house, I mean, unlivable. Let's put it that way, in Waterworks. And I had only been there once before. And then I want to release this video. That's the other thing. Like, I've got tons and tons of content, especially driving content. I know so many people are asking me, they want to see this town and that town, and they want to see Negril. I'm going to do that tomorrow, hopefully, but just haven't had a time to sit down and upload this stuff. Anyway, I've been to Waterworks once before, and let me just bring some context here. So I'm going to bring up the map so everybody knows where we're talking about here. All right, 1 second. Gonna bring up the map. All right, so here's Jamaica. And just to again bring some context, this is Black River here where my mouse is, and that is the hardest hit town of this hurricane. And that is in St. Elizabeth, and this is Westmoreland. And here's Negril, which is the westernmost part of Jamaica. And this is where I am. And of the West, Negril was let's put this in quotations, the least affected of the storm. In so many respects, we were spared. I can't emphasize that enough. We got so lucky, especially when you just compare even just going to Savlamar, not even Savlamar, even going to Little London, Bay Road, McNeil Land. When you compare us, and these places are like 20 minutes away, it's night and day. It's night and day. So that's why I say Negril got so lucky. If you come here, if you drive through Negril during the day, you couldn't tell that a Category 5 hurricane came here like less than 2 weeks ago. I mean, that's how quote unquote good it looks. And so two aspects of I would say that really speak to that. One is like the debris, trees on the ground, light poles. None of that is there. And you and that's one. The second thing is our foliage. So we still have leaves on our trees. There's still a lot of greenery here, but when you go to waterworks, it looks like it's and especially on the way there, like going through Ferris, and also I'll show you on the map here as I talk about this. So here's Negril, and we're going to Non-Pro Road. And I would say when you start to feel it a little bit in Sheffield, as you're going through here, you past the Negril Hills Golf Club, and then you're kind of getting into Mango Hall, Little London. Definitely, you really, really start to see that, like going past Negril spot there, Retreat, and yeah, Little London is when you really start to feel it. But it's, I mean, for sure, Bay Road, but for sure, when you get into Sav, let me see here. When you get into Sav, like there's like no question. And then when you get out of Sav, and then you go into like little into Smithfield, yes. All right, so Smithfield. Oh man, this is so bad. Like this is where the Paradise Solar Park was. Shredded, shredded. But this is kind of where you really start to see the difference. And as you go through here, and particularly, and you see all this, like as you go through Smithfield. So you see how green it is here. And from the satellite imaging, like all of this is bare. It looks like there was a forest fire. It looks like the scene in if you ever seen Lion King, where when Scar took over the pride and everything started to go down. That's how it looked. Like all the trees, and then you had down tree trunks. It was just unbelievable. And there is some sort of delineation. I don't know where that is, but maybe satellite imaging. I'm sure that you'll see, like, for example, I don't know where this would be or how this would happen, but I'm sure there would be like some sort of satellite imaging that would show like right here is all green going west, or a lot more greener going west, and then starting to go east, it's just all brown. And it's just not like that here in Negril. There's still a lot of green here on our trees, a lot of leaves. But then as you continue to move east, and then here, this is Ferris Crossing, and you go here, I mean, it's just barren. It's just barren. It looks like a wasteland, like in terms of like, it just looks like there's just no sort of nourishment of wildlife, of the environment by any means. And All this green that you're seeing here is just all brown. It looks like winter in upstate New York, just driving, and all the trees have no leaves. That's what it looks like, and it just just so crazy, and just like really, really unimaginable to have that experience. So again, I'm gonna show and upload the drive that I took from. I started it from Sav going to Waterworks, and you'll see exactly what I mean. You'll see exactly what I mean. Um, I don't even know if I could find Waterworks here. I'm so bad on this part of the map. This is Ferris Crossing. I'm just trying to remember by how I drive. And then also, man, Ferris Primary is like really, really bad shape as well. I mean, pretty much like all their roof is gone. Like, and we've done so much work there with my family's nonprofit with NEAT, and we've done so much collaborative work, and it was just so heartbreaking to see Ferris in that shape. You know, that was like one of our baby schools, if you will. So anyway, this is Ferris Crossing, and then this takes you into, okay, beautiful. This is Waterworks right here, and this takes you into Waterworks. So these are like mountains here, and again, all barren, all barren, all barren as you drive through. It's just crazy, and this is like a beautiful road, like nicely paved, recently done, really, really beautiful. I didn't, I'm gonna go back to these places because, like, as I'm like looking at these names of these towns, like Whithorn, Betheltown, like all these places, like people have been asking me about, and for me to show, excuse me, Petersfield as well. I heard they're, in pretty bad shape up there. So I'm gonna try to get to these places at some point. Benta River, that's like a Roaring River. These are like, so Benta and Roaring, those are like very popular attractions, like both for international tourists and Jamaica tourists. Like these are beautiful, beautiful rivers. I want to see what those look like. I'm going to try to get to them at some point this week. And then also, people are just asking about these places. Amity, people ask me about Amity as well. And I'm gonna try Frome, George's Plain. Like as I'm looking at these are just all names that Grange Hill I tried to get to, I couldn't get to. And these places are hard hit and seemingly just not getting the attention that they need, or just understanding about what the challenges that they're facing. And I'm gonna do my best to just get an understanding of what's happening there, and also if they need help to get them there. So again, I know a lot of people are coming from Kingston that are looking for places that need help, particularly here in Westmoreland, that just haven't been getting it, and I'm gonna try to steer them in the right direction. So kind of bringing it back to Negril, and just talking about Negril a little bit, and kind of where Negril is right now. And as I mentioned before, we got super, super lucky here. Super lucky here. That includes both the West End and also the Beach Road. And usually the West End did get hit worse. I should say that the West End did get hit worse this time than the Beach Road. That's what usually happens. But even still, they're faring pretty well. So we still don't have electricity here. We do have running water. NWC came on, I think, last night, and it's really it's like I said before, like you can't tell if you were driving here throughout the day, you can't really tell that there was a hurricane that came through here. But at night, it's pitch black here. Unless you have a generator like we have here, you're going to be in darkness. And thankfully, we have running water. Unfortunately, we did have, I mean, I don't know how many people saw it, but at the Logwood plant, which is in Hanover, which is our main water supply feeder for Negril and parts of Hanover, the generator caught fire. And it's just like, tragedy, like just one tragedy after another, and it's just unfortunate. So because we don't have electricity, the pumps at the water pumping station don't work. It needs electricity to work off. So JPS is out. That means that NWC can't pump water to our pipes here in Negril, and that's why the pipes. That's why we didn't have water in our pipes. And so we we had water for a couple of days, and then a fire happened a few nights ago. One of the generators, so generators were brought in to pump water into our pipes, and one of the generators caught fire. And it was just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? What else? You know? And so anyway, what happened was that the TF really stepped up. I mean, kudos to Dr. Kerry Wallace and also Richard Wallace. They were at the plant last night, and they were able to, the TF and the TF board, they were able to get funding for us to rent a generator to be able to pump to, to be able to basically pump water into the pipe. So we have to rent a generator, and that's how we're able to have water right now in the grill, because we rented this generator, and it was just it's crazy. I don't know what happened and how it caught on fire. I don't think that's important right now. They'll figure that out eventually. But it's just an example of people in the grill that are committed to Negril and that made that happen, right? And then also the Tourism Enhancement Fund, the TEF, just doing an emergency funding to be able to get us a generator so we can have water in the pipes. And I think that's like incredibly good news, like really, really, really awesome that happened, and that thousands and thousands and thousands of customers and residents have running water in their pipes. So this is like one thing out the way, and that's gonna continue, right? As long as JPS isn't up and running, we're gonna have to be using a generator so we can get water here in the grill, which is just kind of where we find ourselves right now. And so I see somebody asked me if the water is drinkable. Yes, I'm drinking it. It's coming from NWC, but it's coming from the plant. So it's totally fine. It's the same water that we would normally get. So that was bad news, but good news. But that's also an example of just like the government working just extremely fast to get a solution and get going, and also having community members just ultra committed, because they didn't have to be there last night working overtime. And I know there's so many of these stories just like this that don't get heard and that don't get talked about. And again, like you're just hearing mostly people talk about like how bad the government is doing on this situation, and I don't think so. Like I think everybody's working hard. Of course, mistakes are being made. Of course, there are better ways of doing some things without question. But to say that they're not working and that things aren't being done, that's not true at all. I mean, even going back to Beryl, I will say I was when in terms of like how quickly the roads got cleared, I was blown away. And I've been here up until that point. I was there 18 years in Jamaica, and I was like, "Ugh, we're gonna be here for months," kind of thing, because I know how things used to be, especially when I first came here, and they cleared the roads so quickly. I was just blown away at how quickly they moved trees out the way and they got things flowing. And then same thing with Melissa. Very, very, very impressed. Could it have been faster? Yes, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. But compared to the old Jamaica, compared to the Jamaica that I had moved to back in 2006, moving at light speed with those things, light speed. I don't know. I know there was a lot of private citizens who came out and did that. I know there was tons of government workers who came out and did that, clearing more roads, moving light poles. But I was definitely impressed with how quickly the roads got cleared in Negril, West End, and then also even the road from Negril to Montego Bay to Negril. Very, very impressed with that. And so I think that the lessons that we have learned over the decades are paying off, and there's going to be so much more to be learned as we go through this Melissa situation right now. So so I took a drive, and I'll probably release a couple of these tomorrow's Monday, maybe Monday, Tuesday. Is like I took a ride of the entire West End because I hadn't been to the entirety of Deep West End. Completely clear. Not seeing, I mean, really not seeing many signs of there being a hurricane came through in many ways. And I'd love to ask this if people feel the same way. Excuse me. People feel the same way. Well, Arrow was worse for Negril than Melissa was, I want to say. It's trees down. But I also I said this before, but I think Beryl took down a lot of trees that would have came down during Melissa. So I think that has to do with it. Like that's part of the factors to take in consideration. But Beryl wreaked havoc on the grill. I mean, it was, and especially West End was in really bad shape after Beryl last year. But fared much better this year. And don't get me wrong, there are businesses that have been pretty much destroyed in Negril, particularly on the West End. There have been homes that have lost roofs, that have been permanently damaged, that need to be rebuilt. Lots of that. But I think those stories are more individualized, and I'm not trying to, take anything away from those folks at all. They need help, they need assistance, but the grill is without question nowhere near as widespread and as devastating as other parts of Westmoreland, and definitely St. Elizabeth. There is just no question. There's no comparison. And people, particularly people who have come from maybe deep Westmoreland or even St. Elizabeth, and they come to Negril and they're like, there was no hurricane that hit here. Talking to government workers, people at JPS, they were like, not in their mind with what they're dealing with out in the field. And I was going to use the term real problems. We have real problems too, but like it's just way worse out there. There's no comparison. And so that's why I was saying earlier that Negril got very lucky, and in many respects we were spared from the storm. And again, we took our hits here. People have lost homes, people have lost their businesses and livelihoods here in Negril. Don't get me wrong, but the devastation is just nowhere near as widespread as it is in other parts of Jamaica. So I just want to make that clear. And as I said that, like, so let's stick on Negril for a little bit. And I know so many people have been asking me, should we come to Jamaica? Should we come to Negril? Should we still come for our vacation? Will you be ready in December? Will you be ready in January? And I say, and I've been telling people, absolutely. Absolutely. There's some folks, a couple now, the husband partner reached out to me and asked me, hey, should we come? My wife has a little bit of hesitation about this. And I said, absolutely. There's no reason for you. Sorry, not to say that there's no reason, but if you're staying at a place that you're comfortable, and that does have the amenities that you're looking for, particularly like electricity, running water, etc., I don't see why you shouldn't come. And I know there's this notion, as I would say, donation, because Justin just gave me a donation. Thank you, Justin, very much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Appreciate that and appreciate your support as always, Justin. So there's this notion that's out there that you shouldn't come to Jamaica because our vacation in Jamaica, and you shouldn't be coming here because you're taking away resources from the people that need it. And if somebody in the comments could help me understand this and why people think that and how that makes sense, especially from an economic and especially from a recovery sense, I don't get it, and I don't think it applies here. And there's two types of people who have been pushing this narrative. And then the first one is probably the one I despise the most. And there are folks who are out there who are creating content and using this tragedy, this devastation, as a way to elevate themselves on this platform and then also to make money off of the situation. And it's just crazy. And it's just so sad and very disgusting to see. And mind you, I'm in the social media game, right? And I've been doing this for quite some time here, and I have a good sense of when people are saying one thing but just doing something completely different. And then when you look at the character of the people and the people who are working with these people, it just aligns. But but folks on the internet who are consumers of this and watching these videos, they don't understand this. And they're looking at them and in the way they presenting this information as them being genuine people and looking to help people. And that's just not the reality, right? And it is just so disgusting. And I'm not calling these people out because I truly believe these people are just going to fall on their own sword. We see it all the time. We see it. It's just that's just the way life works. That's just the way life works. And I'm staying out of it in that respect. But what I am going to do is shed light on this so the folks who are watching this live here and then also on the replay are aware that there are people who are really using this situation to benefit themselves and are creating GoFundMes to raise money and for themselves, and then also want to prolong this and are using it and they want to make things seem worse than it's bad enough. Trust me, it's bad enough. But they are just propagandizing this like crazy. And I see right through it and I see them doing it. And I'm just like, what are you doing, guys? What are you doing here? And you're making it worse for people. And so those folks are saying, don't come to Jamaica. Don't come to Negril because how could you? Because these people have no roofs over their head and don't have food. If you think that the aid that is, and I don't mean to be, I'm trying not to be just an a-hole about this. But if you think that the aid that is going for these people are somehow going to get diverted to guests and tourists that are coming to Jamaica, like let's be silly. Let's not be silly here, and I know that's not what they mean, but like that's kind of that's the way I'm looking at this argument. And so I'm trying to stay away from the negative. I'm trying again. I'm not trying not to be an a-hole. That's why I'm just taking my time here and articulating my thoughts here. And so I'll just say this: those folks, like I said, they'll fall on their swords. I will just use this opportunity to just be wary of people who are talking like this. That people who are sensationalizing what's happening, and people that you don't know and that you haven't been following, and that they just come up on your radar and then they just have these GoFundMes. And it's just really, really silly honestly. And I can't believe people are doing this. And you hear about this in other parts of the world, but people are doing it here in Jamaica and taking advantage of people's kindness. And then also with the sensationalization of this, it's like I also think there is this, and I don't understand the motivation behind it, but it's like they want to make things seem worse than it is, right? And for their own benefit. I'm just going to move on because I can't really say and talk the way I want to because we're online and we're on the internet, and I'm stumbling with it. So anyway, all right, let's move on to the second type of people who are pushing the narrative that you shouldn't come to Jamaica. And I think those are people who just don't know, essentially really just don't know what they're talking about. And then also just virtue signaling straight up. They just virtue signaling, and they are just trying to use this as and positioning themselves as being this person of just higher moral authority, and that you should be listening to them because my ethics are so pure that blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, again, using this tragedy to elevate and promote yourself, and you really don't understand what's happening here. So let's move into what is happening here. And for those folks who are questioning and whether like, hey, should I come down? Should I visit? And why I say absolutely, because as I said earlier, look at the people who have jumped into action, right? And the people businesses and hotels, especially. And I could speak for
So many hotels in Negril. So many hotels. I'm not going to name names. And so many hotels who are not posting on social media, and some who are. And I feel like there should be more hotels posting what they are doing. But there are many who are not posting what they're doing and not taking out a camera and saying, "Hey, look what I'm doing. Look, I'm helping this person." Even though I do believe we need more of that. Honestly, I do believe some of these hotels need to push out more on social media what they are doing and how they are helping their community and how they're helping their employees. And there are so many hotels right now, travelers included, where we have been housing our staff and our team members who can't go home right now. We've been doing that. So many hotels are doing that right now as we speak. So many hotels are sending construction crews out, travelers included, are sending construction teams out to their teammates, their employees, homes, and rebuilding them and giving them construction materials, zinc, wood, whatever they need, building foundations. And they're getting these people back on their feet. And we did not, these hotels and these community members, they did not wait for somebody to say, "Hey, can you go do this? Can you go do that?" Everybody jumped into action. And it is the tourism sector that I know of. I'm sure there are many others. I know there are many other sectors, especially like I mentioned, my friends and folks who are coming from Kingston, bringing aid, people who are flying in, bringing aid. But my point is that the hotel industry has been extremely instrumental in helping people get back on their feet, especially their teammates, their team members who are part of their organization, who are in really, really bad situations. And people, these hotels are jumping into action and have been and will continue to do so. You know, this is not something that we're just doing now and it flames out. Like, this is a marathon. I was talking to a hotelier this morning. This is going to be our reality for quite some time. And we know how important it is to get people back on their feet, and especially from a psychological standpoint, purpose-driven standpoint. And we've been doing it, and we are doing it. And so we're only able to do this and continue to do this it's with folks coming to visit us. Honestly, even and like there is this. I'm not going to call this lady stupid, but she can't be too bright. But multiple people sent me this video of this individual who just saying, "Don't come to Jamaica. Absolutely not." And I don't know if this is an old video. I don't know. You know, if this is a video after the day after, I'm unsure. But the messaging is it's just so bad and so wrong. Uh, because you look at a Negril, and I will also say that there is and I'm not saying this in a way to pin one against the other, but this is the reality. And the reality is that a lot of small hotels fared better than the larger hotels. That's just a reality that we're in right now. And I think, again, we're early days. This is to be studied. I think there should be definitely some bigger brains than mine put on this and to get an understanding of how this is a situation. So I think from a physical damage point, that a larger hotel, it's just a larger amount of space and more amenities, more buildings, more roofs, more pools, let's say, more restaurants, probably a whole lot more trees. So the damage to those size properties and the cleanup is just far bigger than, say, a 2 to 3 acre property, and compared to, say, maybe a 50-acre property or something like that, 10-acre property, whatever it is. It's just X times larger of a cleanup process to be dealing with. The second element of that is you have a much larger team, way bigger team. And I say that from the perspective of the people who have been, the number of people that have been affected by this who are under your umbrella, and then two, the amount of people that you are going to have to be coordinating and moving pre, during, and post the storm. And what I mean by that is, it's like you have this small army that you're in charge of, maybe probably hundreds of people. And remember, no telecommunications. Most places probably don't have walkie-talkies for every team member, supervisor, and that sort of thing. And that's just like so much more logistically to be in charge of and to be worried about and to be working with. Whereas like a small property like Travelers, which is so much more nimble, and then decisions don't have to go down a a hierarchy, down the totem pole, so to speak, and we're just able to move quicker. And it's like the day after the storm, I think it was the day after the storm, we were just like, yo, we got to go check our people. I mean, and we didn't have to send an email to corporate or go up. Like, no, we were just gone. We just on the road, and we just driving around trying to find our employees and seeing if they're good, because we didn't have cell phone, gas was limited, but we prepared in that respect. And so we were able to go and do that. And it's like, damn, this person lost their roof. Damn, this person lost everything. And come back to base, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do? It's like, yo, we gotta help them. Like, it's just going to be for us to have sat back and have that information, and to just sit back and just be like, the government better move. The government better get some aid over here. Couldn't wait to do that. I mean, they'd still be waiting right now. And so we were just able to jump into action because of like how small we are and like how nimble we are, and we're able to deploy aid to them, to deploy building materials and be able to buy that. And we have we have our relationships with the different supply stores and that sort of thing, and then plus our bigger suppliers as well. So anyway, I think that's an advantage that we had. Obviously, we weren't thinking about it in the moment, but that's just kind of the reality of just being smaller. We were able to just kind of just move a little bit quicker, make decisions faster. And I think that there is, I say that all that to say is that there's a difference, I think, here in Negril being the small hotel capital of Jamaica, and some argue the small hotel capital of the Caribbean. It's a different reality that we're facing. If you look at, say, a Montego Bay, where they are mostly much larger all-inclusive hotels who kind of fall into that first bucket that I was describing, much larger properties, more damage, more teammates to deal with, team members to deal with. And, so it's different. So anyway, let's bring it back to the question at hand is like, hey, should I come to Jamaica? Should I come on my vacation? And this is kind of why I'm saying, yes, you should, because especially if you're coming to a small locally owned property, especially if you're coming to a small property in Negril that is giving back to the community, that is doing so much for its employees and for its team members, so much. And so what you're doing also is like you're especially if you're coming to a small hotel, like you're helping the economy. Like, there's no question about it. You're helping the economy. I was reading an article today in the Observer about a young man that is in the tourism industry. I think he's in the attraction space, and he's concerned of when he is going to be able to get back to work. And this is the thing that people don't understand, is it's like, let's take that mindset and go to the extreme. And so your argument is you shouldn't come to Jamaica because you are taking resources away from people, and you're going to be hurting the economy. You're going to be hurting people with your presence here. And you're going to hotels that are functioning and that can accept you. And and this is like, I'm talking about like, yeah, come down, no problem. But like, people are saying that for like December, Christmas, New Year's. What are you talking about? So anyway, you come here and you're helping people to stay employed. You're helping hotel workers get back to work. You're helping people get back to their purpose. And being in the hospitality industry, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years at this point, you have to have a passion for it. If you're going to be like, it's kind of one of these crazy industries to be in. And that you have to be very passionate about people. You have to be very passionate about kind of in a way giving part of yourself to this industry, because you're taking care of people. And there are so many people who are in this industry that get great joy out of doing that. And by having this shut down, it going to your example, is like you're taking that away in a big way. So anyway, I know I can continue to go just on and on about this, and it just doesn't make sense. And I can understand if the entire country was devastated, but that's not the situation. And the message shouldn't be that Jamaica is closed for business. That is by far not the situation here. There are portions of Jamaica that are in really, really bad situations, circumstances right now. There are many, many people, again, who are without lights and without running water right now. But does that mean that the people in Kingston right now who went to church this morning and are going to sleep tonight to get ready to go to their 9 to 5 tomorrow, Monday morning, that they shouldn't do that, that they should be at home moping about what's happening here in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth? No, we need them to move forward. We need them to help the country move forward, and they need to do what they do and be as good and as best as possible at the jobs that they're doing. And if they can contribute and help with what's happening here, please do. Please do. And so many of them are. And so many of them are. But the rest of the country should not be going to a screeching halt because of what's happening here. We need them to be good. We need them to be productive, because there's tens of thousands of people that we just described and discussed that are going to be out of work and not being able to get back to work for many months. And so the people in Kingston that have their jobs and are going to work tomorrow morning, they're the lucky ones in a big way, but they have a responsibility now. They have a huge responsibility to get things back on track as best they can. And we're doing our best here in the West. We're doing our best here in the West, and we need the help, but the country shouldn't come to a screeching halt because of what's happening. I think that would make things so much worse, so much worse. And the people in Kingston should not feel guilty about that. They should not feel guilty about going to work and making a living for themselves and going to church this morning and sending their kids to school tomorrow morning and picking them up in the evening. Not at all. Not at all. They should be grateful, and I'm sure so many of them are, because at one point the storm was heading that way. But at the same time, they should be getting up with just a greater sense of purpose and responsibility and motivation tomorrow morning. And they have a very, very their jobs, whatever it is, it's become so much more important tomorrow morning. So much more important, because there are so many that can't go to work tomorrow because they don't have a roof over their head. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. And this can't be the situation for the rest of the country. And I think it is a bad message to be sending out to the world that Jamaica is closed for business. And I, in fact, say that's not true. Jamaica is open for business. And though we are in recovery mode and we have many parts of our country that have been devastated, we are working on that. We need your help in doing that and getting back on our feet. But I think we're going to cause even more problems and more issues if that is our mindset, to tell people that Jamaica is closed for business, because that's not the situation. That's not the situation at all. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin, very much. Keep spelling the ignorance as you normally do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Jamaica is going to need you. Jamaica is going to need you. All those folks who are thinking about coming, and, there's, people who are, canceling their December reservations in Negril. I mean, unless your hotel, as I always say, even on the investment side of things, before we came into this Melissa situation, it's like, you got to make the best decision for you and your family at the end of the day. No matter what, you got to make the best decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you ask me my opinion and ask me what I think, and then I'm going to tell you, yeah, you can come, unless your hotel's like, don't come because we're going to be closed. That's a different story. But it shouldn't be like, we're not going to come because we think the roads from Montego Bay to Negril are impassable, or that we're going to be driving through a overrun river. This is where the misinformation comes in. And what so many people who are, again, using this and saying it's just devastation everywhere. It's not devastation everywhere. It's just not. It just isn't. That's just the reality. So yes, come talk to your hotels, talk to your travel agent if you go through a travel agent, but you can go to, and please don't hold me to these names. I'm going to just tell you off the top of my head. Maybe I should have done a better job, but I'm going to off the top of my head of what hotels that I know that are open. So let me name Travelers Beach Resort first because I did an Instagram video and I forgot to mention my own hotel. So Travelers Beach Resort is up and running. We have a generator, as you can see. We have internet, AC, water, of course. Okay, so Travelers. I went to me and my family went to Skylark this morning for breakfast. They're open. Spoke to one of the owners. Rock House is opening tomorrow on the West End. Tree House is open. Shirella Inn, Rondell Village, Woodstock is open. You know what? I think I wrote some down. And if people know of some, you can throw it in the comment section there. All right, here we go. This is what I know. Margaritaville, Italian Cafe, Corner Bar, Sid's on the Rock, LTU, Negril Palms is also open. What else? Fusion Restaurant right here next to Travelers is open. Cuyaba is open. Sweet Spot is open. Rondell Village, I think I said that. Mariella's Pizza is open. Boardwalk Village is open as well. And also Boardwalk Shopping Plaza. I got to make a video on this soon because I'm realizing I'm just reflecting on some Facebook comments out there. But all the major grocery stores are open in Negril. So that's Quality Traders, LFA Country. I think I'm messing that name up. But the one at Sunshine Plaza, they're open. Both the high-lows are open. The one at Boardwalk Shopping Village is open, and the one downtown at the Roundabout. Both banks are open, as a matter of fact, as well. So the lines of the ATMs are crazy, as you can imagine, but I think that's going to die down. All the gas stations are open from what I understand. I don't know if all of them are taking credit card. I know Petcom on the northern part of Negril is. I gassed up there this morning. So things are getting back to normal here in Negril in a big way. So like those major things are open. All of the little convenience stores, I won't say all of them, many of them are open as well. So the things are moving here. Things are moving here, and people are itching to get back to their normal lives here in Negril. Itching. So I just want to make that clear that things are getting back to normal here, and especially every little thing really helps. I think I was gonna say, Flow Digicel is kind of back. Flow is doing better than Digicel for sure. Digicel is just kind of in and out. I'm just checking my service now. I could be because I'm in the studio, but no service from either one of them. I have both chips on my phone, but we're doing okay here. We're doing okay. We're doing okay here. Like I said, better than a lot of other parts of the country. Where else should we go? Just looking at the agenda here. We covered most things. Talked about the GoFundMe. I'll talk about that again. Do you want to touch on ThropX as well before we? I'm going to go into the comments shortly and take questions. Do you want to talk about ThropX? I put out an email yesterday for those who have already bought their tickets. And we've made the decision that we're postponing ThropX. So there were a few names who had bought tickets that don't have email addresses, and I don't even know how that's possible. So for those who don't know, ThropX is my annual investment conference that I host every year in November. And just with everything going on and talking with our partners and our sponsors, I wanted to turn it into this having it be a majority of a week of giving back. And a lot of people want to volunteer. And most people, crazily enough, most people who bought their tickets are still coming. And so it's just so crazy. You guys are amazing. You're really, really amazing. People are still coming. And so anyway, we are moving it to May. Let me get the dates here. May 2026. So we're actually going to be doing 2 ThropXs next year. So we are doing May 24th to 30th. So May 24th to 30th, we're doing ThropX here in Negril. And then we're also doing ThropX again in November, which is just about 6 months apart. And that will be November 15th to 21st. And so if you have any ticket for ThropX, you can use it for either one of those. So we're not canceling it. You can use it for either one of those. And I will also, we're also doing, like, again, so many people are still coming for ThropX this week, this year. And so what we're doing is we're going to use those days, and you're not obliged to do this at all, but people have been reaching out to me and wanting to do it. But we're going to do just days of volunteer work, and we need a lot of manpower. And so we'll be pushing out the schedule for that, for those folks who are coming, and what we're going to be doing this week. Actually, yes, this week we're going to be pushing that out. And then we're going to actually have one day of, I don't even know if I could call it panel discussions, but it's just going to be more of like discussion, brainstorming of like how Jamaica is going to move forward and how we can be a part of that, helping Jamaica move forward even faster and quicker, and making this recovery effort so much faster. So we're going to have different government agencies who've committed that they said that they can come, and we're going to be hearing from them, and then also a lot of our community members as well. And I think it's just good to get a group of, and also going to be unique, of just getting a group of really smart people that have always put Jamaica first in one room under one roof, and getting an understanding of what their experience of Hurricane Melissa has been like, and what we think and they think should be happening, and where we can be steering our efforts in direction, especially over the course of the next few months. And that's going to be a rare gathering, especially at this juncture, and along this timeline. And I think it's going to be a very, very important one. And especially because it's going to be such an international audience. And it's also going to be a lot of local leaders here, especially local leaders in Negril, and then local leaders in different professions, in architecture and construction, architecture, and also in real estate in general. I think it's going to be so important. So if you are coming, I think it's going to be a great discussion and just a great meeting of the mind. So we're going to be doing that one day during the ThropX week. And so you all, if you're going to be around, would love to have you. All right, let's get into some comments here. Let's get into some comments here. Yeah. Last week it was on. Trust me. That the thing about ThropX and why I was so confident is because, like, Travelers was okay, and this is why I was like, yeah, we can still do it. And even unless you're talking to my brothers and like looking at the timeline of like our recovery, looking at our team's timeline, we're like, yeah, we can do it. We can definitely make it happen. And we have been, because we also been functioning relatively normal, at least with our, and of course we had our missteps and everything like that, but we're okay. And so we were like, as a hotel, we can put this event on. But then as we reached out to our speakers, as we reached out to our partners and sponsors, this has affected everybody very, very differently. And then also, yeah, it just wouldn't be the same, and especially it wouldn't be anywhere close to what it normally would have been. And even though we wanted to push for the volunteer aspect and the giving back aspect, and then also so many people have reached out to me about a list. What can I bring? What do you need? Sort of thing. And so it was also going to be this opportunity for us to pack bags. And this is what I mean about the volunteer. Like, one of the aspects of volunteering is we're going to be packing bags of the goods that everybody's bringing. We're going to go shopping, pack these bags, and go out to these communities and distribute them. And so we're still going to do that. But what I wanted to do is, like, that was going to be the majority of the week. But we're going to be doing that this year for those folks who are coming, and still asking you to bring aid as much as possible. And that's kind of why we had to push it and postpone it until May. And so it's going to be and again, everybody who's coming, everybody who has their tickets for this year, you're coming to that one. If you can't make it in May, come to the one in November. And it's going to be another event. And I know, like, so many people have asked me, like, why don't you do ThropX twice a year? Oh, there you go. It was not the plan, but there you go. Excuse me. All right, let's get into some of these comments. Thanks for chat, and then thanks for touching on ThropX. You're welcome. P. Willie, Throp is going to take a year to look a bit normal. I mean, I think other places is going to take more than a year. You know, it's going to take more than a year. I think Negril is going to look normal by December. I'm telling you that right now. Probably even before that, for Negril to feel normal, it's going to be a few weeks. If you walk around here, the beach especially, it's just unbelievable compared to other parts of the country. Trust me. Tisha says, I think everyone who loves Jamaica, including those from Jamaica, are trying their best to support Jamaica because it's heartbreaking to see, especially certain areas right now. That's right. That's right. Mr. Info says, good evening, Throp. I will be making the permanent move to Jamaica in January. Amazing, amazing. Over 20 years in the electrical industry and in the US, it's time to build back Jamaica. Amazing, amazing. Jamaica can absolutely use your skills right now. Tisha, great. Thank you for bringing up this point. Maybe it should be more coordinated where persons should contribute to bigger organizations to handle it, but also some of those bigger organizations target specific areas, and so others are left without. So this is the one thing that I'm starting to see here, and and I would say this is kind of one of my concerns, is the lack of coordination. Is that like so many people want to help, and there is like, it's very disorganized. I mean, quite frankly, it's very, very disorganized. And people are coming to me and asking me where to go, and I know where to go. And I'm sending them, literally many cases taking them. And we can do that, you know, and we can continue to do that. But it needs to get to the point where it's just more structured and it is more predictable. I'm assuming it's going to get to that point, but it would be great to have some sort of timeline where, especially these folks of these many towns that we had mentioned, that they can rely on, say, hey, every Friday at 2:00, we got an aid package coming in for 500 people. And so hopefully we get there soon. I think what we also need is like, hey, this organization needs 50 volunteers on this day at this time. Can you come out? These are the skills that we need. We need people to help, you know, clean somebody's house. We need people to help build back a house and nail zinc and that sort of thing. So there's a lack of that right now. There's a lack of that. And it just needs to be more coordinated. Also, what I'm seeing and hearing is that people are getting an overwhelming amount of aid where they're just getting more than they need and they keep accepting it. Fortunately, that's happening. And it's like, how can we, and again, you know, these mistakes are going to happen, fog of war, right? So it's like, how can we mitigate against that happening? All right, we gave this person aid 3 times and they only really needed it once. How can we get the other 2 times to like a dollar stand or something, or in to Waterhouse? So I'm seeing a lot of that, which is concerning, but we're aware of it now. So like, how do we mitigate against that and just get a little bit more organized, you know? And I just imagine there like being some sort of map. I don't know if we can use AI to map out these areas and like the populations of these areas and how many people are affected and how we get aid there. And like, maybe we can even deploy specific NGOs and just well-thinking citizens to go here at this, like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, people's safety has to be taken into consideration as well. So yeah, you know, and like, even with the week of volunteering for ThropX this year, I mean, I already know how I'm going to do it and what I'm going to do and which organizations I want to be working with. But even like, it wasn't clear to me, you know, it wasn't it wasn't clear to me that this is the direction that we should be going to. And then even up until yesterday, people are asking me, where should I go? I want to volunteer. I want to use my hands. I want to help rebuild. Just not sure about that. So it's just a concern that I have right now, that I would be excuse me, I'm confident that we'll get past at some point in time. Mm. African Sunset here in Canada, we've raised a ton of money for our Jamaican farmers who spend a few months a year here farming, almost 53,000 to help with rebuilding of houses, medical, and safe water. Awesome, amazing, amazing. Tisha says TropX is May. Oh, sounds promising. Yes, yes. Move to May. Shauna, when you get a chance, I sent a message a few days ago regarding waste support. Thank you. I will check that out. Sophia says, you mentioned Roaring River. Did they get hit hard there, hard living there? I'm still coming to Travelers next June. Can't wait. I'm not sure. I haven't got up there. I'm going to be taking some drives this week for sure and getting up to the many places that I had mentioned when I had the map up. Let's see. Ian, what's going on? Hey, Throp, I'm scheduled to come down at the beginning of December to help rebuild. Would be cool to connect with you while I'm in Negril. I'll be around. I'm not going nowhere. I'll be here. Savannah says it's called emergency response team by area needed now. Yep. I mean, I'm sure they're doing that version with the government, but like how do you when their teams, but like how do you do that with also like people like myself and then also people NGOs as well? Like how does it all coordinated under one umbrella? And like I feel like groups are working in isolation, and I don't know. It's just it's a lot to think about. Uh, I don't have a number for you to call. You can email me, throp@thropmedia.com, if you want to get in touch with me. I'm putting it in the comment section here. So, yep. Yeah, no calls, phone call, no calls, phones are down. Yes. We got WhatsApp though. All right, let's keep rolling here. Yaman says perhaps this is the opportunity for infrastructure like water may be right. Yeah, definitely. This is an opportunity to rebuild stronger in so many ways. This is a great opportunity. And I was even thinking, so right now, like with our team members who have zinc roofs and let's stick with zinc roofs and wooden structures, like we just had to do that right away. Like there was no time to be like, all right, let's get let's get an architecture to come in and do a drawing for the house and then submit it to the planning authority to get approved and then go get the construction material. Like, nah, we had to go do that right away. You know what I'm saying? We had to do that right away. But to your point, Yaman, is there I feel like there needs to be a coordinated long-term plan, like 5 to 10 year plan of like how do we transition, especially Westmoreland, where we have so many. I feel like majority of homes are wooden structures here, residential homes that is, and that are wooden structures. Like, and can we get a plan together of like over the next 10 years, we're going to be transforming X amount of homes from the wooden structures to concrete structures. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how the funds come to do something like that. But, you know, for a lot of people now that need help now, you can't do that. That makes no sense. Like you're going to be waiting for approval from the planning authority, which they're not even open. You know, at least the Nagalpa, Negril, Green Island planning authority is not opening here in Negril, which we need for approval to do any sort of construction in Negril, any permanent construction. So anyway, we need to. I think it's important that we get to that point that we build stronger structures and we change the. I'm sure the building code is going to change in Jamaica, especially at least this part of the island. Like I'm sure that these building codes are going to be completely different. All right, let's keep rolling here. There is a lack of disaster coordination. It's like the government don't know where to start. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. There is, and it's easy to be critical of any government dealing with a disaster. And there are mistakes that are going to be made, but there is no government. There is no government, even the best of the best out there, that handles these situations perfectly. I mean, for God's sakes, look at Katrina. Look at the United States of America, the number one world superpower, biggest economy on the planet Earth, right? And look how poorly they failed in that situation, and FEMA, and you know what I'm saying? So, like, let's put things into context here. Us, little Jamaica, like, I think, are we perfect? No, no, not at all, not at all. But it's like this stuff, I feel like we're doing our best under the circumstances, and I think that there should be continue to be like, hey, you guys are forgetting about this town over here. What about this town over there? You didn't get us. You know what I'm saying? So I think in respect to that, and like letting the government agencies know, and letting people of influence know that you might have missed this place over here, I think is important. But I think they're doing the best under the circumstance, and I think there's going to be tons of lessons learned here, and we're going to be better for this. And I think we're learning a lot of hard lessons here for sure. All right, let's keep rolling here. Buffalo Soldier says that sounds good to utilize AI by asking where what needs certain areas. I bet it can find some information using satellite imagery. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. You know, flying some AI drones and using lidar. I'm sure there's a way to get like an understanding of this, and also understanding, populations. Um, Georgina says maybe reach out to the counselors. They usually know all the community members. Yeah, I think I think there's a lack of that too. And when I say that, that is like a coordinated effort by those individuals. Like, I don't know, it just seemed it just seems like something's missing, in terms of direction. That's kind of my sense on the ground here. It just seems like something is missing, and that I think there are a lot of inefficiencies that are happening here. And I don't know if there are. I'm sure there are other professionals who are here on the ground that have come from abroad. I know even professionals here in Jamaica that know this better than I do. But like, again, I feel like there's something missing in terms of a dissemination of information, what's happening, and what the plan is. Vanessa asks, "Are you organizing volunteer opportunities where tourists can visit but also help with recovery?" I am not. I'm not. I would say after DropX, I'm not doing that, in the sense that, like, in terms of me doing it. What I want to do, and what I think I'm going to be doing, is working with other organizations who do it a lot better than I'm doing it, right? And they're just better at it than I am. I mean, one of them I know is the Negril Rotary Club. And that is one organization where I've been pushing people, where you just know that the help that the resources that receiving is going right to the people that need the help, like, immediately. And they're doing a very good job, and they have a track record of doing it. They have the experience. And the thing that I like about the Negril Rotary Club is they've learned from Beryl, right? And unfortunately, in situations like this, that there will always be people who will look at this situation and try to take advantage of people's kindness. So last year during Beryl, what they did is they were trying to help community members, particularly here in Negril, that were affected by the storm. And again, Beryl was pretty bad for Negril. And they asked people, hey, you lost your roof, you lost your home, take a picture, send it in. we'll send you money, we'll send you resources to help you get back on your feet. What people were doing, they were taking pictures of other people's houses or taking pictures off the internet and submitting it, and then aid was being given. And so you see what I'm saying? So anyway, this year what they did is instead of taking the picture and just accepting it for what it is, now they're taking the picture that they're receiving from people who say they need the help and they need the aid, and then they are physically going and checking it out and seeing what's happened and seeing if what they're saying aligns with what the reality is. And then from there they will give the distribution. And that's what's needed here. That type of commitment to it, because if you just give freely like that, and I learned this the first week of dealing with Melissa, you're gonna burn yourself out, one, and then two, you're going to overgive and give resources to people that don't necessarily need it. And so that sort of due diligence and meticulous approach is needed in this, because we don't have unlimited resources here. We don't have unlimited resources, so we don't want a situation where we're wasting it in one area where it should be going to another area. And so this is why I like the Negril Rotary Club, and they really do so much for Negril in a big way. All right, let's keep rolling here. Sweet Caramel says, I love watching unbiased and calm coverage. The international media is making it seem like Jamaica is completely destroyed, and social media keeps highlighting the don't come back videos. So, yeah, that's silly. That's silly. Raise my blood pressure here talking about that. Georgine Crow, Great Shape Incorporated, raising money, sending food supplies, tarps, all supplies. Another great, amazing, amazing organization that have been doing amazing work for Jamaica for years, decades. Great Shape Incorporated. Please check them out. They do amazing work all over the island. Ms. Barr, what will be the long-term goal with housing? You mentioned getting aid every Friday. How long will that go for? It seems like no one's talking about the long-term goals. So that was getting aid on Friday. That was just that I was speaking hyperbolically. Like, that was just something that I was saying that I believe should be happening for the short term. And I don't believe that something like that is in place. Perhaps it is, but I'm unaware that it is, at least for areas that I've been to here in Westmoreland. So good question. I don't know what the long term is, and also from a sustainability standpoint, you're right. It's concerning because you want to get people. You need to get people back, and I think this should be the mind. Like, a big part of the mindset and the approach is like, you want to get people back to work. You want to get people back to a normal life. You want to get people back to being a contributing member of society. And I think it's so important from a psychological standpoint, incredibly, incredibly important, because especially Jamaicans, especially Jamaican men, I will say, they don't want to sit home and just receive. I'm telling you, they want to go out and work. It's in the people who are saying, like, don't come to Jamaica, don't, like, you don't understand. You don't understand the way people think, right? And the way Jamaican people think. They are hard working people that want to be able to provide for themselves. And there's no point in continuing to give people fish and not allowing them to go out there and fish for themselves. And they know how to fish. Very, very capable. A lot of these folks are very, very skilled, hardworking individuals. And so, how do we get them to a point where they are waking up in their purpose and they are going out and earning a living for themselves and buying the food and providing it for themselves and for their family? That's what they want to do. I'm telling you, they don't want to be in a situation of receiving perpetual aid. And the folks who are saying, don't come to Jamaica, Jamaica's shut down, Jamaica's not open for business, this is the reality that you're creating with your rhetoric. And it's nonsensical, completely, completely nonsensical. So again, my thinking along these lines is, how do we get folks back to being productive members of society? Because I know that that's what they want to do. And of course, food, water, shelter, Maslow's hierarchy of need. Gotta get that up and running as quickly as humanly possible. And I know that there's so many folks who are a lot smarter than I am, are trying to figure it out and working on it. But yes, to understand to your question there, Miss Barr, some sort of timeline, a time frame. I know that's hard to ask. We're not even 2 weeks out yet. Let's keep that in mind. We're not even 14 days out from this storm hitting Jamaica. And remember, many of us had a, a, a strong 6-7 days before Hurricane Melissa of preparation, of buying material, educating ourselves on the storm, battening up windows, plyboard, um, coordinating with our teams to come stay on property, uh, it's communication plan, meetings with our guests. Like, we've been in this for quite some time, and we're going to be in it for quite some time longer. And so, again, I think the mindset and the mind frame should be like, how do we get as many people as possible back to normal lives? And then also with the infrastructure, as we talked about before, making it stronger, more resilient, and to be able to withstand something like this again in the future. Because there's no point in building back the same thing, And we got to do that for now. We have to do that for now because people need roofs over their head immediately. But how do we get stronger over the long term? Eleanor Mitchell says, I know you've gone, but maybe some have said don't come to Jamaica because a major portion of the country is devastated. Negril is good, but those who come should help. No one wants to see many laying on the beach relaxing while a big portion of the people are suffering. Okay. Okay. So I don't understand how that helps, right? The people who are coming and laying on the beach, and trust me, I would say a large majority of them are going to bring aid and are sending barrels and all of the above, right? And a big portion of the country, yes, is devastated, but you're you're stifling economic growth. Remember, the number two source of income in Jamaica, you've got remittance, and the number two is tourism, right? And so, but let's say number one, for our purposes, for tourism is number one, Jamaica. This is our number one product. Number one. This is what drives the economy is tourism. Number one is tourism. And now by with your reasoning, you're saying don't come because it's not good to be laying on the beach while other people are being devastated. And I understand that. I understand the sentiment. But it's going to take money to bring this thing back. It's going to take tourism. A big part of it, I'm telling you, a big part of the help that is happening right now in Jamaica is tourism. It's hotels, it's restaurants that have now converted their kitchens into aid kitchens, if you will, that are distributing food. And so it's hotels that are putting up staff. It's us in a big way. I'm not saying that other industries aren't doing anything, but we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. And we're only going to be able to do that if we have revenue. If our businesses fail to exist because we don't have revenue and because we don't have customers coming in, we can't help. We can't do this. We can't, and that's just the reality. That's just the reality. We have to be able to do two things at once as a country. It's like saying that the people in Kingston who are back to their normal lives, that they shouldn't have gone out on Saturday night to whatever club in Kingston or Friday, and they shouldn't be going out for dinner, for sushi, or for Chinese. Why? Why? That's nonsensical to me. That's nonsensical to me. The economy needs to move forward. The economy needs to move forward, and the country needs to move forward. And I'm not saying that we should be forgetting about what's happening to us here in the West. And in no way am I saying that. We need help, and we need your help, and we need people in Kingston's help who are coming out here and coming out to assist. But at the same time, the country's economy is going to be it's going to take a major hit already, and you're just adding insult to injury. The way I see it. All right, let's get to some more recent comments. All right. Kyle Wallace says you need to come and spend your money. Simple. It goes into the economy. Come as a tourist or to help, but come. There you go. Kirk Wallace, I see most of those don't come back. People posting from their bedroom and unscathed houses. There you go. As Beverly says, we'll be there in a couple weeks to assess the damage to our house. We plan to stay in the grill. Hopefully, a travelers would love to have you. QCM says tourism is the backbone of Jamaican economy. Absolutely, it is 100%, no question about it. Michael Logan, hire the people who are displaced. This is the time to go to Jamaica and help. That's right. That's right. I'll say, Mr. Info said earlier he's coming back to Jamaica. He's an electrician, and he's moving back in January to help build this country. Like, if you want to move back here, start a business, employ people, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Like that, all this thinking, it's gonna be needed. It's gonna be needed. Like the folks, and think about Black River. Like Black River has been, I hate to use this word, decimated. That city, that town is going to have to start over. There are going to be so much need for construction workers. There's also going to be need. It's like starting a new city, a new town. And I don't know what goes into that, but I'm sure a ton of entrepreneurship is going to go into that. Restaurateurs, like all of it, it's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to get people employed, and hopefully getting better paying jobs, better careers, and who knows what kind of industries can go and move into there. And maybe it's a huge opportunity to just have just a better quality of life for those folks who are there, because certain businesses, certain buildings couldn't be there, but now it can be. And I'm just looking for the silver linings here, and I hope that we're looking in this way and at this and more optimism than anything else. And I know we're in the rescue and recovery phase. We still continue to be in this phase right now, especially in that section of the country. But we have to get to a point where we are better and stronger and more resilient as a country. And we, without question, we shouldn't be thinking like we're going back to how we were. Like, no, we should not be. Lisa asks, are the gas stations in the grill open? Yes, I said this before. The grill is getting back to normal in a big way. All of the major grocery stores are open. All of the gas stations are open. There's no longer long lines at the gas station. All the roads are clear. Many businesses are open. I already went through so many hotels and restaurants that are open in Negril. Negril has fared so much better than other parts of Western Jamaica. All right. Aisha, has JPS given a timeline for power back in the grill? Nope, nope, nope. I will say this is completely unofficial. But let's just say worst case scenario, a month. But this was told to me last week, so we're looking at less than a month. But a completely unofficial. Do not hold me to that. Do not hold me to that. I'm just telling you what I heard. Consider it a rumor. Consider it a rumor. Grain of salt, people. Grain of salt. Shauna says, it still feels surreal at the time. I was in Hanover during the storm. Some parts look so apocalyptic in St. James and Hanover area. It felt like I was in a movie. I know the feeling. Darren says tourism needs to get back up and running. Absolutely. Terry says, how do you link the GoFundMe page? Oh, shoot. So I should mention that. Thank you. So I have a GoFundMe that I've put up. If you want to donate, if you want to give back, you want to contribute. This is going directly to our staff here at Travelers Beach Resort. We have, unfortunately, a couple of our staff members who have literally lost their homes, like gone. Not gonna name names. One of the dudes who's here, like he's literally here at work right now. You would not be able to tell. Kid is bright as ever, optimistic, happy to be alive, and happy to be at work. And what's so messed up is that he lost his house, parked his bike and then they stole his bike from him, which is really, really messed up and insult to injury. But he wanted to get back to work, and he's back at work, and we're going to help him get back on his feet for sure. So your donations are going directly to a young man like, I don't want to say his name, but a young man like him, who's here, and we appreciate him. But he's here working, and you'll come here, stay at Travelers, you would not have a clue that this kid lost everything. And this is like a real testament to just the resilience that I've continued to see throughout the island, especially here in the western part. So please, if you haven't already, consider donating to our fundraiser. And we're the ones who are going out. And I'm telling you, it's going directly. If you've seen the GoFundMe page, you can see that it's going directly to rebuilding these people's homes. We're sending the crew out. We're buying the material. So everything is happening through us, through Travelers. And we're sending our construction and maintenance teams out there to go do it. And it's been incredible so far. And this is even before the GoFundMe started. So we will continue along those lines in that same strategy. So the GoFundMe link is in the description below. And then also I put it in the comment section there as well. All right, let's get to some more comments here. Jewel Vaz says, thinking of coming in December, volunteer 3 days, cry, pray, rest, and on the beach for 2 days. I think that's a great agenda. That's a lovely agenda, lovely agenda. And the help will definitely still be needed in December, January, February. And so anybody coming down, I'm sure will be a much more organized by that time, but we're still, like I said, not even 2 weeks out, We're still trying to get our legs under us right now. Georgine says, agree, Throp, go to Jamaica, spend your money and help. There you go. All right. Let's keep rolling here. What's going on, Charles? Charles says, good night, Throp. We're in the Bahamas, had Hurricane Dorian September 1st. We were in the Bahamas. We had Hurricane Dorian September 1st, 2019, stalled over 2 of our islands for 24 hours, 185 mile-an-hour winds with unprecedented destruction and devastation. Yes, we are right there. King Naldo, what's going on? King Naldo, hi, Throp and Throppers. Recently was a news outlet report that Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett allegedly said tourism will be up to full strength by December 15th. I called it delusional. Yeah, I mean, we're up and running now. We're up and running now. Where I already went through the many hotels that are running right now that are accepting guests, they're accepting aid workers, that are accepting volunteers, that are accepting people who come on vacation. And there are people here, and we're fine. I think, to your point, and I was having this discussion with somebody last week, and this is completely my opinion, but it's kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about there being, through the storm, there's been an advantage with the small properties versus the larger properties. And we've just been able to move quicker, clean up quicker, get up and running quicker, have our teams up and running quicker as well. And I venture to guess that when that statement came out about December 15th starting, it was mostly with the all-inclusives in mind, because especially in Montego Bay, many of the all-inclusives had to shut down, and will be shut down for some of them, I think, months. Yes, months. Will be shut down for months. And they have taken a harder hit, and it's just much harder for them to maneuver, and will maneuver. Whereas us here in Negril, that's not the case. And that's unfair to say that tourism will be open December 15th, because in a big way, we will be fully operational. When I say fully operational, I'm really speaking to the utilities aspect. JPS, NWC will be that before that. We'll be fully operational before that. And in many respects, there are many hotels that will be fully operational, relatively fully operational, I should say, now. and are already second guessed. And so I personally believe like that's the wrong messaging to be putting out there, especially when Negril is a big part of tourism, and that is not the reality for Negril right now. And I think he was just thinking. My guess is that he was just really more so thinking about the large all inclusive hotels that are in much worse shape, and he didn't speak to the small hotels here in Negril when he made that statement. So yeah, I don't know. Shelly Champion says, I appreciate your perspective about tourism. I canceled my plans to return to Negril next month, but now I will look into returning and volunteering in some capacity. I'm a woman of Jamaican descent in Toronto, so Jamaica is home, and I want to help in any way I can. Awesome, awesome. And you should. And I think you'll have a tremendous amount of opportunities to do that if you do decide to come back in December. And like I said, everybody has to make the decision for themselves, but it shouldn't be based on these silly, nonsensical videos that I see coming out that just don't align with reality and don't align with the rebuilding and building back of Jamaica. It just doesn't align. Shorta says, when you look up resilience in the dictionary, you'll see Jamaica right there. In many ways, my faith in humanity was increased a bit more. Jamaicans, ayad and abroad, came together like Voltron. Sean says, I'm coming 11/28, staying at Travelers. A great shape incorporated volunteer. Amazing. Working with Terry Ann on supplies and work. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. QCM9 says, bear in mind that Jamaica's main source of income in its economy is tourism. Therefore, I don't find it delusional. The government has to start somewhere. It will boost other hotels to get back on track. Lucinda, what's going on? Big up Throp, neat, great shape, incorporated, Mr. Winston Wellington and family. Nice to see you, Lucinda. Lisa says, we send our prayers and want to help. Thank you for that, Lisa. Appreciate that. Another comment from Lisa. We appreciate your updates. Your commentary helps offset all the negativity. Are you right next to Druce and Beach House condos? We're 2 over from Beach House. No, 3 over from Beach House condos. I was thinking Negril Beach Club. Jay Fitz says, does anyone know when the PM will address citizens and provide details of the existing plan they have, as well as a long-term plan they are working on? I'm very curious about this as well. I'm very curious about this. I would love to hear more about what the long-term plan is. And maybe it's just unrealistic for us to think that. Again, this thing hasn't been 2 weeks. I don't know, but I would love to hear more communications along those lines. Like I said, I haven't been paying attention to the news this last week. Kind of just been heads down. But maybe you all know. I would love to have a better idea of what the plan is moving forward. I'm sure they're working on one. Maybe they could give us some sort of insight about what that's looking like. Who knows? All right. Ask Beverly says, we have a woman who works at our house there, whose house is flat and it's heartbreaking. We will bring her as many supplies as we can. Awesome. PBL Online says, we see what didn't work, but what worked during the hurricane. We can learn from what structures withstood a Cat 5 hurricane. Yes, I think that's so important to study, especially where the eye went over. Look at those structures. There have to be something about them that allowed them to withstand, and also the structures that didn't stand. I think those need to be studied as well. But great point. Kristen asked, is water running in the grill? Yes, it is running. Shona says, during this time, so many business ideas came to mind. I need to write them down. This is a ripe opportunity for new businesses regarding hurricane season. Absolutely. One Love says, if grocery stores open, should we still send barrels or money to stimulate the economy? I think so. Yes, definitely send barrels. I know from what I understand, a lot of barrels are the barrels, I should say, a lot of shipments are going to be backed up. From what I understand, till January. Still send them. Still send them. People are going to need help. Still send them. Still send them. I think it's a good idea. Mm. Buffalo Soldier says, "Trust me, if Miami has a hurricane, Key West and Fort Lauderdale are still going to do their thing with tourism. The other areas of the country, state does not stop living." Exactly, exactly. Just like Kingston should not stop living because of what's happening in Westmoreland. Should not be the case. They should be doing their thing, pushing the economy forward. Adina says the hotel we stay at and I booked to come there. It doesn't have power. Not sure about water. Should we hang on for another 2.5 weeks, or is it not guaranteed that the power will come? Power will be there. When you plan to come to Negril, or yeah, when I'm assuming Negril, when you plan to come, I would say don't hold me. Nobody in this chat or watching this video should hold me to the 2 weeks of power coming back. Don't hold me to that. Anything I just said regarding is a rumor. Don't hold me to that. Don't make a bet on that. This is just what I heard, and don't bank on that. But I'm just telling you what I heard, and it would, albeit it was from a great source, good source, but leave it at that. Right. Sorry, just scrolling up to see some comments. What's going on, Simone? Metro Atlanta Real Estate and Mortgage Insights. One of the plans the Honorable Dr. Holness mentioned is helping small shopkeepers to reopen and provide resources to those who qualified to shop locally. Yes, yes, I heard about that. I think that's a great idea. All right. Ricardo, what's going on? Ricardo says, good point about the digital map of the hurricane impacted areas in the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Uh, Rapida Jamaica provides a digital AI mapping of the impacted area of some stats. Okay, cool, cool. I got to check that out. Jim says, we're coming there this weekend. We are coming to volunteer where needed. Who can we contact to volunteer to help in the grill? So right now, I would say the Negril Rotary Club at this point in time, for that's where I'm pointing. Everybody, they seem to be the most organized. They actually meet here at Travelers. This has kind of become their home base. So, and I know they're doing the work, and that they're like the aid is getting to where it needs to go to. I think that's so important to know. They may not have like all the social media or anything like that, but I'm telling you emphatically, I've been saying this before, Melissa. For many, many years, I always questioned where Negril would be without the Rotary Club of Negril. Honestly, like the work that they do, especially with young people and kids, is tremendous, tremendous. Even adults, tremendous. And now they're doing it again with what's happening here with Melissa. So, I'll point people in that direction for volunteering and to organizations who are getting and doing the damn thing at the end of the day. Darnell, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Definitely, just like last week. I got to tell you, last week we had you guys donated 2,600 on last week's stream. Thank you all so much. Literally bought 100 sheets of zinc, if not the next day, the day after. 100 sheets of zinc. We actually, they didn't even have them, but I think we got I want to say like 34 or 44 sheets because they didn't have enough supply. But we'll get the rest this week, and it's going right to be rebuilding people's houses and putting roofs over their heads. So thank you everybody who donated last week. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you again, Darnell. Tisha says, I saw a post from JPS that said Green Island should receive power 11:09 to 11:12. I saw that Logwood's water pump station had a fire. Yes, yes, yes. And so I was saying earlier on the stream that Richard Wallace and Kerry Wallace were there last night, and they community leaders here in Negril, and they were there hooking up the, not them physically, but they were getting there, seeing that the new generator that we had rented for the next 7 days was being hooked up to the water pumps there at Logwood. And because we have no electricity in this part of the island, we have to rely on NWC, National Water Commission, has to rely on getting outside power from generators to pump water to Negril and parts of Hanover. And that generator caught fire a couple of days ago, and we were without water again, which is very, very unfortunate. One tragedy on top of another. And so what they were able to do through the TEF, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, was get emergency funding that was supported by the chairman and the board of directors of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. We got those monies and was able to go to oh man, I think it's Ward. I want to get the name right, but they were able to get the generator from them. And so this is what they're talking about with Jamaica. I think it was Ward Electrical. And if somebody knows, if I have that wrong, it's going to take me too long to find it. But before that company got the money and got the check, the generator was on a truck on its way to Negril. I like, this is how Jamaica works. They knew that this was an emergency, and before the check cleared, before the money came in, that thing was on a truck to Negril and was ready to be hooked up. And I think that's amazing. And we here in Negril, we appreciate you and we thank you. And also same with the Tourism Enhancement Fund board of directors and chairman and the Wallaces, because without that sort of effort, we still wouldn't have water here in Negril. And, people could have put their hands up and said, generator caught on fire. You guys go figure it out. Wait for the politicians, wait for the government to figure it out. No, people jumped into action immediately and got it done. And I think that's really, really awesome. So really appreciate that. And that's how we're able to get water right now. Lorraine says, hi, Throp. Are the aid workers still out in Jamaica? And what is the progress so far in the worst hit areas? I don't know about the worst hit areas. Aid workers are here for sure. And then I would presume they're going to be here for a while because I know we're going to need the help for quite some time. So they're still here. They're still here on island. I'm not sure about how things are in the worst part hit of the island, particularly Black River. I was trying to go there last week, but just couldn't make it. I'll get there at some point. I'll get there at some point. What's going on, Ruth? Please continue to support your employees as this situation will not be resolved overnight. That's right. That's right. We will. Kinaldo, the centralizing of aid centers seems to be leaving out many residents of affected communities from across to access assistance, as many are cut off. What is the administration doing to quell this? Yeah, I said the same thing earlier. That seems to be what's missing here is just the left hand knowing what the right hand is doing. And I know of cases and heard of cases of people getting more aid than they need, whereas other areas haven't received anything. So again, we're less than 2 weeks out. And trust me, this is going to be a different story and a different discussion approach, at least by me, in 2 weeks from now. And so we're only 2 weeks out. And I think that yes, there's some fumbling going on, mistakes being made, but I think and hope that people are learning quickly and learning from the mistakes and moving on and trying to get the aid to the right people as quick as possible and making it a little bit more effective and also efficient. What's going on, Dean? Look forward to helping out next week. Awesome. Looking forward to having you come down. Oh, thank you, Gail. Wards Electoral. Thank you for that, Gail. Appreciate that. Gail's over at Treehouse, also doing really, really amazing work for her employees and team members, and also going out into the different communities here and here in Westmoreland. I saw you and James Gale in Petersfield yesterday. That they need tons and tons of help. So another hotel in Negril doing amazing work in the tourism sector. Small hotel, local hotel here in Negril, doing amazing work. So big ups to Gail and the Negril Treehouse family. Zaya says, hey, Throp, Jamaica is blessed, and I'm grateful for life spared. Condolences to all those who have lost loved ones. I'm helping my community in St. Elizabeth, and I thank every country that showed up for Jamaica. Awesome. Well said. Well said. Thank you for that. Grace to change. Immediate essentials are needed now, but later government across the Caribbean must change building codes. Absolutely. At least people in houses not to code are mandatory evacuations. Examples, zinc roofs, etc. I think that's happened. I think that's going to happen. I think that has to happen. That has to happen. Georgine says, big up Gil, Biggs, Jackson, Brooks, Treehouse, and Misty Memphis / capital of casual, out every day delivering food and much needed supplies. Absolutely. Like, this is a community in action for sure. Great examples. Great examples. Zion says, first thing, I love Travelers. My entire family stayed there in 2017 for my wedding. You guys were so accommodating. So thanks for that. During the hurricane, my friends and I were stuck in Westmoreland. We saw the devastation, so we have decided to start a GoFundMe. We have collected personal items and food. We'll be back to share what we've collected. Tourism is needed. We'll be back to assist and enjoy Jamaica. Awesome. Thank you for that, Zion. Well said. Any word, Kamoza asks, any word on YS Falls? Nope, haven't heard anything. I don't know if anybody in the comments knows anything on them. Sorry. Tisha says, by the way, I don't know if anyone asked, how are you, your family, and staff doing mentally? Has the hurricane affected reservations at Travelers? Yeah, we are. I mean, as I've been saying this whole entire time, like, we have nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about. Yes, we have our challenges as a company and organization going through this unprecedented situation. We're doing our best to help our team, our staff. It's as you ask about the mental aspect of it, like, yeah, like, this is like, and we're not even in it. I think and feel more for other parts of the country. And when I say we're not in it, like, we're not in the red zone, so to speak. And well, I think of one of our team members in particular. It's like they lost their entire house, and physically devastating, but mentally, it's just heartbreaking. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. It is heartbreaking. And I know there are thousands and thousands of stories like this, but this is the one that I know. And this is the one that I am directly in touch with. And it is trauma like no other. And they have children as well. And it's tough. It's really, really, really tough, to say the least. Really, really tough. And so this is why, like, I think we just need to get moving as quickly as possible on this and getting people back on their feet and back to normal as soon as possible. Jessica Joy says, you and Gail are doing an amazing things for your community. Thank you very much for that, Jess. Bike Chase says, sending love from BK. We are gathering and we'll be at our home in Santa, but we'll spread love in Negril as always. Appreciate that. Rachel, any word on Boardwalk? Another family and business I'm worried about. Like, Boardwalk in here in Negril? Like, Boardwalk's fine. Boardwalk, if that's what you're talking about Boardwalk with the Wallace's own, I think there. Or is there a town called Boardwalk that I'm not familiar with in Westmoreland or St. Elizabeth? Please clarify. Carla says, JS gives update on a lot of topics. He broadly addressed some things already. All right, I will check that out. Thank you for that, Carla. Nope, not running for president or prime minister of Jamaica. Thank you for that. And please listen to Shauna. Just a friendly reminder, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Yes, please do. Please do. That helps out a ton. Just says, same. We, the diaspora, are feeling it as well. We feel for our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. We're all trying to act normal. We all have varying levels of PTSD from the hurricane. Yes, and I think It's gonna be yeah, I don't even know how you like somebody called me about that. I think we spoke today about like addressing the PTSD from this. I don't even know how you approach that with so many people. I really don't. I really don't. Tamara Davis says, "Did Manning's high school get the generator?" Yes, they did. I forgot to mention that. So forgot. Like that was like my mission on the first week is getting Manning's a generator. And so it was two-part mission. It was like getting the Starlinks off of the roof, and then which I did, took me 2 freaking days, and then getting them a source of power. And so, thanks to a very generous guest of Travelers Beach Resort who donated the generator, I got them the generator, and I was like on my way to Waterworks, so I just had to just drop the generator, drop them some gasoline, and just gave them the directions. And I was just like, figure it out, guys. You got it. And just left. So I hope they got it up and running. I hope their Starlink is running. And I will probably check on, not probably, I will check on them this week and get over there. But haven't heard anything from them. So thank you for asking. They got the generator. Yes, I was able to get them the generator. And thank you to Winston and Miranda. They're the ones who donated the generator. Danielle says, ideally, government and donated aid would be funneled through community and district leaders to ensure equitable distribution. People are unaccounted for. Who has the clipboard? I don't know. I don't know who has a clipboard, but that's a great way to put it. Alicia says, "Good evening, Throppin online family. I made it back to Negril from Treasure Beach with some amazing new respect for the people here, especially. I'm so proud of Negril and all of the Jamaican people pushing through this recovery. Stay strong and true to our creator and this beautiful island." Well said. CDH Education says, "Thanks for your tireless efforts. We arrived this evening and are staying at Travelers while we take supplies to our relatives. Wonderful, friendly staff. We met you this evening." Oh, yes. And we took a picture. Thank you for being on the live stream. And thank you for being in Jamaica and giving back. And like I said, best of luck to you tomorrow on your aid distribution. Hmm. Kev says, "Appreciate your real talk and human compassion always. Your genuine sincerity has shown immensely from before the storm and continuing. Bless up, good sir." Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you. Thank you all so much. All right. I think we're gonna yeah, we're not doing are we talking we're not doing any politics here. Not for me, not in my future. Kenano, let's vote throughout to be Negro's first unified mayor of both parishes. Your passion for this community is unparalleled, and being honored as a community leader would be outstanding. No, we're not going there. Not even close. Not even close. Sorry. I think I do. I think I do much better here, and using this platform and talking with you all, communicating with you all, and I just like I was gonna say I'm not held accountable to anybody or like there's nobody above me. I think my accountability is with you all, with this community and what we're doing here. And I think we're doing so good on our own. So good on our own. Like let's not have anybody mess this up. I don't want anybody else to mess this up. Or like I can't say certain things or talk about certain ministers or criticize certain things that are happening here because I'm part of this system. Like I don't want that at all. All of a sudden, at least I tried. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Tamara asks, "Did I go to New York?" No, no. Flight got canceled. And I know I feel so bad. I know a bunch of people signed up for the Thropex VM meetup in New York. I promise you, I sent out an email that just never got sent out. And yeah, I apologize. Yeah, so I canceled that trip. We are going to be doing it at some point in the future. At some point in next year, we will be doing a meetup in New York and continuing to work with VM. And VM is on board. They are a staunch supporter of this channel, as I've pushed many of you to get your mortgages with them because I believe they were the best in the business even before we started having an official relationship. So really, really happy that they're still on board with everything. All right, let's start wrapping up and getting some last few comments here. Denia, denial, denial. Ma, excuse me. Hi, Throp. Been watching your short videos on YouTube. Apologies if you've already covered, but how do we in the U.S. assist? Money is nice, but supplies, food, water is more important, right? Not necessarily. So, if you're going to be shipping things, and so this is what I've been telling people, like if you're going to be shipping things, it's just going to take longer to get here because, and I've heard that people won't get their barrels until January, but that's a combination, I think, of what's happening. And then also just the Christmas season in general. If you shipped anything here during Christmas, it's madness. And then I count this as Christmas. We are in the Christmas shipping season. So combining it with a Category 5 hurricane is going to make it even more challenging. And I'm saying this, I heard this from Montego Bay specifically. So if you want to send money, we're able to, if you're going to the right organizations, the right people, sending the money gets the aid out to people quicker because we can go out and purchase stuff, whether it's building material or food, water, etc. We can do that much quicker if you donate to, even my GoFundMe that I have here that's in the description, or you donate to an organization like the Negril Rotary Club, because that stuff is happening immediately. But I'm not saying don't send the stuff, because we still will need stuff in January, February, and March. This is a marathon. We're going to be here for a bit. That's just the reality. We're going to be here for a bit. So that stuff, that aid is still going to be needed. So please continue to send it in that medium as well. Maxine says, hi, Throp. Thanks for your platform. It's very informative and current. Please provide an update, if any, on St. James area, especially the small country communities. God bless you. I don't know. The only thing I know is like, you can go from Negril to the airport like nothing. Everything's fine. The road is fine. You can traverse it easily and you don't have to worry about that. But I don't know. Haven't got to that side physically. This is just what people have been telling me. So if I hear more, I will communicate more to this community. Let's see what else here. Stephanie says, I'd like to shout out Woodstock and Negril, who went to Little Bay today and provided hot meals. A bus also came with bags, but nobody knows what group. Today was the first bit of relief they received. Awesome, awesome, beautiful. Really lovely to hear that. People have been asking me about Little Bay, and glad that they were able to do something. Thank you for that information, Stephanie. And shout outs to Woodstock for doing that. Stephanie says, what is something that is becoming short supply that would be needed to be shipped or brought? That would need to be shipped or brought. I would say, generators. I know a lot of them are coming in, but generators are still needed. Generators are still needed like crazy. Need generators, I would say. American Friends of Jamaica are by all means Throp's GoFundMe page. Yes, American Friends of Jamaica, they're also doing an amazing, amazing, amazing job. I'm seeing a lot of coverage of them. Amazing job. And yeah, my GoFundMe page as well. Great, Danielle. Great. Well said. Well said. My mind is on the long-term social effects. Jamaica will continue to need support for many years to come. Absolutely. And keep in mind, like we got, and I think specifically about kids, right? We're talking about COVID, Beryl, Melissa. And there are kids who have gone through all three. And even adults for that matter. Great point, Danielle. Let's see. Okay. We're just going to do questions here. Are there timelines on when electricity will be restored in Negril? No, there are no timelines, official timelines. I've been saying, take this with a grain of salt. I've heard a couple of weeks. Don't hold me to that. It's a good source. Let's say, where are we? November 9th. End of the month. That's what I heard. End of the month. Let's say that. That's what I heard. End of the month. Maybe we'll get in a couple weeks, but grain of salt, both of those, what I just said. Ricardo Fulton, hey, Throp and Throppers, I joined this live stream late yesterday. A great Jamaican passed away, CG, Council General. Alcian Wilson. Let's have a moment of silence for her years of service. So, Alcian, amazing, amazing woman, I have to say. And she is a great, great friend of the Wellington family. And thank you for the opportunity, Ricardo, and thank you for bringing this up. And yes, she passed away yesterday. When I say I was shocked, I mean, absolutely shocked and really, really sad. And I didn't know, wasn't expecting that, and she passed away. And she's done so much for Jamaica. She's done so much for Jamaicans, and she's represented Jamaica on the international stage like no other. And really, really, really sad to hear of her learning. And yes, let's give her a moment of silence. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you all for that. She'll definitely be missed. She'll definitely be missed. And man, heartbreaking, heartbreaking. Okay, I think we're gonna leave it there. Alcian, yes, she was at Tisha saying, yes, Ricardo, Alcian was a friend of mine. I'm so heartbroken over her passing. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. Okay, I think we're gonna leave it there, folks. Thank you very much. I will. I got a bunch of content coming out this week to bring you all up to date on what the roads are like. I'll get it out. I will try to do another live stream this week as these days. And I'll save that for what I'm about to talk about, like what the days have been like here at Travelers and what my days have been like. So I'll save that for the next live stream. I'll try to get another one in this week if I can. And this was great. Thank you all for joining this Sunday night edition of our Sunday live streams. And if you are so inclined to do so, I have a GoFundMe to help out our Travelers team, many of whom have lost literally everything. The link is in the description below, whether you're watching here live or watching on the replay. It will go a long way. Trust me, we've already been doing a lot of work in that regard, and we will continue to do so until everybody is back up on their feet and running. And so appreciate you all hanging out with me on your Sunday evening, and wishing everybody a great week ahead, and see you all soon. For those that don't know me, my name is Winthrop Wellington, and I've had the privilege of calling Negril, Jamaica my home for the past 19 years. And over the past few days, I've been sharing with you the devastating on-the-ground effects of Hurricane Melissa on Negril and the wider Westmoreland parish. And unfortunately, Westmoreland has been one of the parishes that has been hit the hardest in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. And in my travels in the last few days, I've seen things that are nothing short of heartbreaking. And people have completely lost their homes. Their lives have been turned upside down, and they need all the help that they possibly can get. And I'm using this platform and reaching out to you, my community, whether you're brand new here or you've been with me for years. We want to try to get people back on their feet. And we want to start with the most basics of needs, which is food, water, and shelter. And how I would like to do this with this platform and with this GoFundMe is to start with the Travelers Beach Resort team here in Negril, and then spread out to the folks that I know personally that have been affected by this storm. And in doing so, I want to do it in a way that there's no red tape, no bureaucracy. Literally, donations, fund support will go directly towards buying these materials and getting it out to the people who need it most quickly. And we've already begun doing that because we couldn't wait for donations. Over the last few days, my brother has literally been going out with his truck to different communities without cell service and also without a clear line of
gasoline and petrol, searching for different members of our staff and different members of our team. And we unfortunately haven't got to all of them. We haven't heard from all of them, but those that we have got to, many of them are in really, really disparaging positions, and we've already begun helping them and getting them supplies, getting them building supplies, and literally sending our maintenance crews out to their homes to help them rebuild, at least so they can be stable. And the thing with this situation is that we're going to be here for a few months. And when I say here, I mean no electricity, no running water, maybe not consistent, sustainable access to internet. And in my mind, it's like, how can we set these folks up to be okay, relatively okay, for the next few months? And that's where I want to put as much support as possible. So once again, whether you've been with me for many, many years, or you're just joining this community, I'm so grateful that you're here. And no matter how small or how large, in respect to the support that you give to this GoFundMe, it's going to go a long way, and it's going to make a huge difference. And what's happening right now in Jamaica is bigger than any one of us. But together, I know we can make an incredible difference. So in closing, I thank you for your time, I thank you for your generosity, and I thank you for your consideration. And let's get these folks back on their feet as quickly as humanly possible.